compliment all the speakers. You see, it was so knowledgeable, and I'm excited on all this information that we have got, especially Dr. Siddiq, from Australia. I mean, his lecture was very thought-provoking, and all other lectures as well. You see, they have been extremely useful, and I hope that we, take all this information into account while making our own policies. Okay, so I have a very brief presentation just to give you the activities and the status of agricultural biotechnology in the country, and to highlight some of the things that we have been doing at FC College. And let me begin my where it is. Can you all see this? Yeah. Okay, so I was allotted this title actually, Biotech role in ensuring food security. You see, so food security is an area where many of the speakers have also talked about, and I thought that for once we should also share to tell you what food security is actually. We define food security when all people at all times have nutritious. I have highlighted this word nutritious, you see, because that is the basis of food security. Have nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. So this is most important. That is this definition is the one which makes all estimates of all these surveys as Pakistan having about 40 or 50% of population as food insecure. That is because the nutrition requirements are not being met, you see. Or in other words, that everyone has the right to educate food in a quantity and quality sufficient to satisfy their dietary needs. One of the key challenges going forward is to shine a light on food quality to address hidden hunger in Syria. Food quality is another area, in addition to nutritious, and food safety. These are the key words when we think of food security. So therefore, and in addition to this, food security has its own dimensions, and that we always say that it is covered by 3 A's, that is availability, accessibility, and affordability. You see, all our R&D is actually more concentrated on the availability part, and we, because if we have enough food, only then we can talk of availability is the key to all our efforts to secure food, you see. So since we are talking about biotechnology, I'm sure that everybody is aware of the role of biotechnology, that because of the immense developments in molecular biology and life sciences, we are now able to move one gene from one place to another and have a complete control over the mechanism of alarm production, and also in human beings, also in animals as well. So it has a big excitement all over on the developments that have occurred in this particular area. So I will just briefly talk about the role or the objective that we have for agricultural technology to increase in productivity, as I said, that for availability, and that one of the important impediments to all this are biotic and abiotic stresses that are faced by the entire agriculture activity. See, all the plant diseases and all the abiotic like salinity, drought, temperature, and all these are abiotic stresses, and in all these areas, biotechnology is playing an important role. You see, it has success stories also. And then obviously, for the reduction of cost of production, the use of biofertilizers and biopesticides, and increase in fertilizer use efficiency. These are the areas where a lot of work is already being done, and it is in the field as well. And recently we have developed varieties, have developed the transgenic wheat having increased fertilizer both of nitrogen and of phosphorus separately, you see. And then one of the important factors that impacts food security, or as I said, is the nutritious food, you see. And so biotechnology has been used to improve the nutritional condition of all our agriculture crops, and one of the factors has been that we are looking for varieties with a low phytate, and if we can increase vitamin A and other phytonutrients, that I will talk to you about all these later on when we talk about our work. And similarly, in animal biotechnology as well, you can make improvement in productivity of meat and milk. And then, now the latest technologies of using genome editing is one of the very current area where you can use all these genome editing technologies to overcome some of the hazards of genetic engineering. Okay, so that means, and then as far as Pakistan is concerned, you see the challenges to crops in Pakistan. All these crops which are grown in the field, these are the things that are, and the problems with insects, with viruses, with those, with stem borers, with all these can all be tackled with this, different approaches using biotechnological tools, you see. So there is an immense scope of using it. Therefore, in Pakistan also, we have had when our support of biotechnology, agricultural biotechnology has been fairly good. You see, recently I published status of agricultural biotechnology in Pakistan, and we have been able to show all the research projects dealing with transgenic agriculture, supported by HEC, supported by Punjab Agriculture Research Board, Pakistan Science Foundation, PARC, ALP projects. And so there are fairly good investment is going on in the area of agricultural biotechnology in the country, and they are working virtually in all these crops, you see, including cotton, wheat, rice, maize, sugarcane, oilseed, pulses. Virtually, I will show you. Virtually all these plants are being studied as to use biotechnology to improve the varieties or for particular traits. As far as I will briefly talk about some of the work that we have been doing. Our main projects at FC College that we about 7-8 years back we started. Our flagship has been on the development of transgenic wheat with low phytate for increasing bioavailability of iron and zinc. As you all know, and I think we have been, there was a presentation also that as far as stunting and all this is concerned. These two micronutrients are the main culprits. You see, there is an acute deficiency of iron and zinc in our diet, and that has been shown in the recent National Nutritional Survey that was conducted and was published in 2018, I think. And that has also shown a fairly high percentage of deficiency, especially in female population of iron, which results in anemia and all other diseases, and also deficiency of zinc results in many of the neurological disorders. And so one of the main cause of all this is the presence of phytate in all our vegetables, also cereals, etc. Phytate is in phosphorus compound, for storage of phosphorus, but it also chelates all the micronutrients, like iron and zinc and copper and all others, and the phytates are not digestible in our alimentary canal, and so they pass out as such, and therefore it is important either to look for varieties having low phytate or to develop varieties with decreased phytates. So we had produced these transgenic wheat by degrading the phytate in the endosperm, that is in the seed where it induced the phytase gene, which was expressing only in the endosperm, and that with the reduction of phytate, the bioavailability of iron and zinc was increased 3 times. We looked at the chapati also, and we have shown that the iron about 3 times and zinc about 1.5 times has been increased. You see, so this has been. We had submitted it to the NBC. NBC is the body National Biosafety Committee, which regulates all the developments in agricultural biotechnology. So now they have allowed us to do the field trials. So we are now we are in the T7 generation, and so as soon as we have enough seeds, we can then give it for the national variety trials under the guidelines of NBC. The other one that is also in the field trial state is the increasing phosphorus efficiency in wheat through the genetic engineering. This was that we were expressing the same phytase gene in the roots, you see, with the root specific promoters, with the idea of that the phytase is exuded out into the mesosphere, and that helps in further degrading the organic P in the soil, which is available for the plants on uptake. So these are the 2 areas, but we have also there are other projects now which have been also approved by NBC for laboratory genetic manipulation. So these include all these. The one earlier that I talked about was supported by the Punjab Agriculture Research Board, and this one was supported by Pakistan Science Foundation and NSLB of PSF, which is Natural Science Linkage Program. Okay, and so these are all the projects. And as far as another area of biofortification is that we have produced wheat with increased P6, you see, which is another vitamin which is deficient, and we are required. So our approach is that wheat or seed is the best carrier of any technology. You see, if you can improve the seed, it is so easy to hand it over to the farmers, and then that is the technology that goes into the field. You see. So there are also efforts to do fortification, you see, that is to add iron EDTA or things like that into flour, and so that the iron is increased. But all that is fine with the urban population. See, the rural population, nobody eats wheat, flour from the mill, you see. You know, they have their own chakis and all that, and there it is not possible to do any fortification. Our approach is that if possible, we first improve improve the nutritional status of the staple food itself, you see, so that it can be easily be available to the people, you see, you know. Okay, so this one is also in the field. It is now we are in the T3 stage, and so soon we will submit it again to NBC for getting approval for field trials, you see. And then we have another very important project on enhancing fertilizer. This is especially nitrogen use efficiency, and we have been able to produce transgenic lines having increased nitrogen fertilizer use efficiency, and this we have checked even with by using N15 as an isotope, you know. So this is also in the E3 stage, and we are very hopeful that similarly, and this we are using all the transcription factors for that, this for nitrogen as well and for phosphorus as well, you see, you know. Then we have transgenic approaches for the development of drought and salt tolerance. This is again in heat, and this is also Agraj should be aware that when he was at UAF, and he had established these centers, excellent centers for food security and all that, and then they had awarded some projects, and this is the remnants of the legacies of those times, you see. So anyway, these are all other utilization of multiple transcription factors for enhancing heat. We are concentrating on heat, you see, so many people may have some observations on that. Development of gene constructs for heat tolerance in monopods, and then this is for this has been in collaboration with an industry, which is 4B with others, and they are an agri biotech company, and so we make the construct, hand them over to this company, and they do the transformation, and then genetic transformation of pigweed for better adaptation to drought and heat and to the coffee. So these are some of the, all focused on to the problem of agriculture, which we think that biotechnology might be able to help. Now I will briefly show you as I was mentioning, that there is a fairly good amount of investment has been made in agricultural biotechnology by different departments of the government, including PARC, Punjab Agricultural Research Board, Pakistan Sun Foundation, and most importantly HEC. HEC through its NRPU has been supporting this area quite liberally. You see, and I have all that data collected in my book, you see, and which probably all of you have that. And so you can see that development of biotech crops, these are the crops cotton, as a grass said that, I do not agree with this statement though. But these technologies are not the cause of any debacle in cotton, you see. I can assure you that, you see. And these are all, some of them are free trial. These are generally being done by CAMP and ITCHI also, and these are, and some companies as well. You see, there is no company, there is no MNC involved in developing these in the field. See. So that is probably one of the cause. I mean, if these companies are allowed also to, to enter into this area, then it will provide a good competition, and it will, good methods can be made available, you see. So anyway, cotton and wheat, thus drought, these are being done in MG, and we are doing some on oil fortification, as I explained to you, and also increasing phosphorus efficiency, dust resistance, etc., etc. And in rice, bacterial blight resistance, MG and CEMB have been involved in that. And then there is a lot of work on maize, which has been done by CEMB and also NIGAB. And then Monsanto and Syngenta and Pioneer, they have all done their field trials and all that, and but somehow they have not been given approval. I don't know why, but that is the state of the status at the moment. Then sugarcane also, there are CAB, University of Agriculture, there is Center for Agricultural Biotechnology and Biochemistry, and they are working on that. Chickpeas also, and then tobacco, potato, peanut, brassica, and others also. I have the data on that as well. But these are just to show you, there is an immense interest and activity going on in the country in all these areas, you see, and in overcoming some important problems of all these crops, you see, And similarly, there is some approvals have been given to cotton, mainly cotton, and maize is the one which is still officially. They have done all the experimental plans and data, everything, but somehow they have not been given the formal approval. So, these are the companies or the institutes. Orica also has done cotton, and so all these. Okay. Now, let me also give you a flare of things that what is happening in the world, you see, And we keep talking about some hazards of biotechnology or GMOs and all that. But the world is going on, you see. All these countries, alfalfa, canola, cotton, in all these countries, US and these countries, in which these are being cultivated, you see, Herbicide and insect control, these are the major against picture of these crops have been developed, and these are the countries, you see, of Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica. So all over the world, these are being cultivated, and more soybean. Soybean is the one which is mostly. It is, you will, if you want to get non-transgenic soybean, you will not be able to get it. See, the entire crop of the world of soybean is basically transgenic. You see. So, and so sugar beets, eggplant. Eggplant is very interesting. It goes to fame. They approved the genetically qualified eating eggplant in Bangladesh, you see, And then all other potato, papaya. Papaya is a very important crop of USA and also China. Hawaii is in the center. Papaya and apples, squash, sugarcane. These are all edible things, you see, And because so anyway. So now I would like to talk about the constraints. That's why I also showed this at the house, and Imran Khan Sahib himself. Then I showed this also over there. that what are the constraints in the adoption of agricultural biotechnology. Number one, we think that there is a very weak regulatory system, and that it needs sort of capacity building. They don't have even any technical person employed there to look after or because all this is a technical matter, you see. And there is little financial support still, you see. I think overall, if you look, there is still relatively little financial support for agriculture research, you see. The most important point that we highlighted was that there is a general negative perception about GM crops among some of the NGOs and bureaucracy based on hearsay and non-scientific assumption. This is most important, and I'm sure that some of you will agree with me. Who wants support of the Agri Administration to harness the potential of this technology and lack of awareness among the political establishment. So these are the things that we have been talking about, and anyway. So the two technologies, are emerging, especially the speed plant breeding and all that. This conventional breeding based on selection of germplasm provided by. Yes, this is another thing. You see that this conventional plant breeding based on selection of germplasm provided by international centers is no more capable of serving the needs of agriculture. Our plant breeding, especially wheat and cotton to some extent also, and rice, all are dependent on providing the germplasm from the international center. And these international centers are still not capable of absorbing all the developing technologies, and so I think we should try to develop our own technologies, our own breeding systems, you see. All the new breeding technologies are being developed now and used globally. This has come about due to the availability of complete genomic data of major economic crops, namely wheat, rice, and cotton. There is now a horde of genome editing technology, starting from RNAi, zinc finger, Gavin, and now CRISPR-Cas, which have modified the host genome. If you know the genome of of your crop, then believe me, your breeding system can be totally overhauled. So we should develop these technologies and know-how and awareness so that we can use all these technologies. And I would like to thank you all for your patient listening, and I will be happy if there are any questions.
Thank you, sir. You have made a very elaborate case in support